There's been some developments involving the Richat structure. This site keeps on getting more and more interesting, and the evidence continues to stack that it is by far the most likely location for Atlantis. Now, for those of you who don't think that, if nothing else, I'm here to tell you that the evidence has become more apparent than ever.
The Richat structure, often referred to as the Eye of the Sahara, is one of the most captivating and mysterious geological formations on Earth. Situated in the heart of the Sahara Desert, this massive circular formation has intrigued scientists, explorers, and theorists for decades. Its discovery and subsequent studies have led to a wealth of theories and speculation, reflecting the profound mystery surrounding its origin. Was a massive structure once here that suddenly vanished? Could it have had a massive impact on planet Earth? Or could it be an ancient mining site used by perhaps aliens or another advanced civilization? Could humans have had a role in this mysterious formation? The Richat structure first came to the attention of the scientific community in the 1930s, when French geologist Théodore Monod embarked on an expedition to explore the vast and largely uncharted Sahara Desert. Monod's expedition was primarily focused on geological mapping, but during his travels, he noticed a peculiar circular formation that stood out starkly against the otherwise monotonous landscape of the desert. This structure, visible from higher elevations, appeared as a large bullseye-like pattern in the sand, prompting initial curiosity, but not immediate investigation. It wasn't until the 1960s, during the era of space exploration, that the true scale and nature of the Richat structure were fully appreciated. Astronauts aboard NASA's Gemini 4 mission captured high-resolution images of Earth, including the Sahara Desert, from space. From this vantage point, the structure was clearly visible as a colossal, circular formation stretching across a significant portion of the desert. These images ignited interest within the scientific community, leading to more focused research and exploration. Upon its discovery, the Richat structure's origin was the subject of intense debate and speculation. Its nearly perfect circular shape led many to hypothesize that it was the result of a meteorite impact, as such craters often exhibit similar features. However, as scientists began to study the structure more closely, they realized that the truth was far more complex and mysterious. One of the most striking aspects of the Richat structure is its size. The formation spans approximately 40 kilometers in diameter, making it visible from space and one of the most prominent geological features in the Sahara Desert. To put this into perspective, the structure is roughly equivalent in size to the city of Paris or the entire area of New York City. This immense size, coupled with its nearly perfect concentric rings, added to the mystery and allure of the structure, leading to numerous theories and speculations. Its size is so immense that it can only be fully appreciated from high altitude or space, where it appears as a giant bullseye in the vastness of the Sahara Desert. Detailed geological studies eventually debunked the meteorite impact theory. There was no evidence of the high-pressure minerals, such as shocked quartz, that are typically associated with impact events. Instead, researchers determined that the Richat structure was a deeply eroded geologic dome composed of different layers of sedimentary rock that had been exposed over millions of years. The concentric rings were found to be the result of differential erosion, where harder rock layers resisted erosion more effectively than softer layers, creating the distinct bullseye pattern visible today. The Richat structure's unique geology offers several fascinating insights into Earth's distant past. The structure is composed of Proterozoic sedimentary rock, which is estimated to be over 2.5 billion years old, making it one of the oldest geological formations on the planet. The central part of the structure is composed of Ordovician rocks, which are about 480 million years old. This wide range of geological ages provides a window into the Earth's early history, offering valuable clues about the geological processes that shaped the Sahara region. One of the most visually striking aspects of the Richat structure is its resemblance to a human eye when viewed from space, a feature that has earned it the nickname Eye of the Sahara. The formation's circular shape, combined with its concentric rings, gives the impression of an eye gazing out from the desert, a phenomenon that has captured the imagination of many and contributed to its mystical aura. While the idea that the Richat structure was created by a meteorite impact has been discredited, the exact process behind its formation remains a subject of scientific debate. The most widely accepted theory suggests that the structure is the result of a volcanic eruption that never fully breached the Earth's surface. According to this theory, magma from deep within the Earth began to push upwards, creating a domed uplift in the overlying sedimentary rock layers. However, instead of forming a volcano, the magma cooled and solidified below the surface, leading to the gradual collapse of the dome. Over millions of years, erosion exposed the concentric rings that are visible today. Another theory posits that the Richat structure could have been formed by hydrothermal activity. This process involves the circulation of hot water through rock layers, causing chemical alterations that can lead to the formation of circular patterns. Although less widely accepted than the volcanic theory, it remains a possibility that some scientists continue to explore. The formation of the Richat structure is also believed to be connected to the tectonic activity that shaped the Sahara region. The Sahara Desert, though largely flat today, was once a much more dynamic landscape, influenced by the movement of tectonic plates. The structure may represent the remnants of a much larger geological process that occurred when the African continent was still undergoing significant tectonic upheaval. The immense size and complexity of the Richat structure make the idea of human construction seem highly improbable. Spanning a diameter of 40 kilometers, with rings that are perfectly concentric and several kilometers wide, the structure would have required an immense amount of labor, advanced engineering knowledge, and a purpose that remains difficult to conceive. Additionally, there is no evidence of human activity or artifacts that would suggest the structure was man-made. However, some fringe theories have suggested that the Richat structure could have been an ancient construction, possibly by a lost civilization. These theories are often linked to the legend of Atlantis, the mythical city described by Plato. Proponents of this theory argue that the structure's size, shape, and location correspond to descriptions of Atlantis, leading them to speculate that it could be the remains of this legendary city. This theory has gained traction in recent years, fueled by the structure's circular shape, size, and location in the Sahara Desert. The theory suggests that the Richat structure could be the remains of Atlantis, as described by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. Plato's dialogues describe Atlantis as a powerful and advanced civilization that existed around 9,000 years before his time. He depicted it as a large island, divided into concentric rings of land and water, located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which is commonly associated with the Strait of Gibraltar. Proponents of the Atlantis theory argue that the Richat structure's concentric rings closely match Plato's description, and its location in the Sahara Desert could correspond to the island's destruction and subsequent desertification. Establishing the age of the Richat structure has been a complex task due to the varied composition of its geological layers. However, scientists have been able to estimate its age based on the ages of the rocks that make up its various layers. The central part of the structure is composed of Ordovician rocks, approximately 500 million years old, while the outer layers are made up of even older Proterozoic rocks, dating back more than 2.5 billion years. The age of the structure has been roughly determined through radiometric dating, a technique that measures the decay of radioactive isotopes in rocks to determine their age. By analyzing the different layers of rock within the structure, scientists have pieced together a timeline of its formation, revealing that the structure is one of the oldest geological formations on Earth. The Richat structure's resemblance to a human eye when viewed from space has led to various symbolic interpretations. Some theorists propose that the structure was designed by an ancient civilization to serve as a signal or marker, visible from great distances, possibly even to extraterrestrial beings. This idea taps into the broader theme of ancient astronaut theories, which suggest that advanced civilizations or extraterrestrial visitors played a role in shaping Earth's history. The region surrounding the structure is not devoid of interest, both geologically and archaeologically. The Sahara Desert, though largely inhospitable today, was once a lush and fertile region, home to ancient human civilizations and a diverse array of flora and fauna. Evidence of ancient river systems, now long dried up, has been found throughout the Sahara, indicating that it was once a much more habitable environment. While the most widely accepted theory is that the Richat structure is a natural geological formation, the lack of definitive evidence for its origin has led to various alternative theories. Some suggest that the structure could be the remnants of a massive ancient caldera, the result of a supervolcano that once existed in the region. This theory posits that the structure was formed by a massive volcanic eruption that collapsed the magma chamber, creating the concentric rings seen today. However, this theory is not widely supported, as there is no evidence of volcanic rock or ash in the area. Another theory proposes that the Richat structure could have been a site of ancient mining activity. The circular shape and concentric rings could have resulted from systematic mining operations, where different layers of rock were removed over time. However, there is no archaeological evidence to support this theory, and it is unlikely that ancient peoples would have had the technology or resources to undertake such a massive project. While these ideas are largely speculative, they highlight the enduring fascination with the Richat structure and its potential significance in human history.
If you have a relatively short time frame to deal with, then searching for a lost civilization becomes much more complex and much more difficult. But if you have a very long time frame to deal with, there's much more material to investigate.
Was the city of Petra always known as Petra? From the Bible, we learn that the oldest name for Petra is Seir.
Beneath the rose-red cliffs of Petra, an ancient city carved into sandstone holds mysteries that have puzzled scientists for centuries.
First organization of human beings that deserve to be called a civilization.
Recent discoveries in this lost city have surprised experts, challenging our understanding of ancient civilizations. As shadows reveal new celestial alignments on the grand facades and columns during the equinox, we are left wondering, what secrets do the stones of Petra still hold?
I don't think we're looking at coincidence here. There's too much going on. I think coincidence is a very weak explanation for what's happening.
The story of Petra, often called the Lost City, stretches back to as early as the 4th century BCE, when it was founded and rose to prominence by the 1st century BCE as the capital of the Nabatean kingdom. Nestled in the cliffs of vibrant red, white, pink and sandstone, Petra was at the heart of a bustling trade empire. Its strategic location on the spice trade routes connected it with far-flung regions from China and India to southern Arabia, and on to Egypt, Syria, Greece and Rome.
You go to Egypt and you'll find influence of the Nabateans. Everywhere we look, we find some reference at some time to the Nabateans.
The city thrived not just commercially but culturally and architecturally, demonstrating advanced techniques in water conservation. Its engineers crafted an intricate system of dams, cisterns and water channels that sustained both the city's population and its agriculture through harsh desert conditions. However, following its annexation by Rome in 106 CE, Petra began to experience a slow decline. Initially, it flourished under Roman influence, but as trade routes shifted towards the sea and devastating earthquakes struck in the 4th and 6th centuries, the city gradually lost its former glory. By the time the Islamic conquests swept through in the 7th century, Petra was reduced to a shadow of its former self, mainly inhabited by a few local Bedouin tribes who lived among the ruins and closely guarded its secrets. Throughout the Middle Ages and well into the 18th century, Petra remained enveloped in obscurity, particularly to the Western world. The Crusaders controlled the region briefly in the 12th century and even established a fortress there, but knowledge of Petra's once grandeur was limited to local tribes and a few knowledgeable Arab scholars. The renowned 14th century explorer Ibn Battuta mentioned Petra during his travels, describing it as a remote place with buildings impressively carved into rock faces. This period in Petra's history mirrors that of another ancient city, Machu Picchu in Peru, which also remained hidden from Western awareness until its rediscovery in 1911 by Hiram Bingham. Both cities were advanced in manipulating their natural environments, Petra with its sophisticated water management systems, and Machu Picchu with its terraced fields and intricate urban planning. The prolonged European ignorance of Petra lasted until the 19th century, with the region fading into the realm of myth and legend. Many in Europe were completely unaware of Petra's existence, despite ancient texts hinting at the architectural marvels that lay hidden in the Jordanian mountains. This mystery persisted until explorers reintroduced Petra to the Western world, bridging the gap between ancient lore and modern recognition. Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, born in 1784, was a Swiss traveler and scholar whose profound curiosity and academic prowess led him to significant contributions towards the Western understanding of lost or lesser-known ancient sites. Mastering multiple languages and immersing himself in various cultures, Burckhardt developed a particular fascination with Petra, an ancient city whose whereabouts had slipped from European knowledge. In preparation for his explorations within the Ottoman Empire, Burckhardt relocated to London in 1806, where he joined the African Association, an organization committed to the exploration and mapping of Africa. He further honed his expertise at Cambridge University, studying Arabic, geography, and the cultures of the Middle East. It was here that he meticulously constructed his alter ego, Sheikh Ibrahim ibn Abdallah. This identity was not just a cover to mask his European roots and exploratory motives, it was a deep dive into cultural assimilation, allowing him safer passage and a more authentic experience in predominantly Muslim territories. Burckhardt's journey to Petra began in 1812, framed as a pilgrimage to sacrifice at the tomb of the prophet Aaron on Mount Hor, which cleverly concealed his true intent to locate and document Petra. He had pieced together clues of the lost city from discussions with local traders and vague references in ancient manuscripts. His travels from Syria to the Arabian Peninsula were fraught with challenges, from regional conflicts to the unforgiving desert landscape. Yet his guise as an Islamic scholar provided him crucial cover. Upon his arrival in Petra, Burckhardt was met with the breathtaking view of the Sikh, a narrow gorge stretching over a kilometer, flanked by towering walls as high as 80 meters. This passage led him to Petra's most famous and enigmatic structure, Al-Khazneh, or the Treasury. Carved directly into the blush-colored sandstone cliffs, its facade displayed an exquisite blend of Nabatean, Greek, and Roman architectural elements. Petra's entrance, known as the Sikh, is far more than just a gateway. It's an architectural wonder in its own right. This narrow gorge, carved directly from the towering sandstone cliffs, stretches for about 1.2 kilometers and varies in width from a mere 3 to 16 meters. As you walk through, the walls, which soar to heights of over 80 meters, dramatically frame your approach, guiding you towards the heart of Petra, ending at the magnificent Al-Khazneh. Along the Sikh, you'll notice a series of ancient water channels, a testament to the Nabateans' advanced hydraulic engineering skills. They devised these systems to capture and conserve the scarce desert rainwater. The strategic narrowness of the Sikh also offered a natural defense mechanism, much like the historic pass of Thermopylae in Greece, providing a fortified barrier against potential invaders. At the end of the Sikh stands Al-Khazneh, or the Treasury, which, despite its name, was likely built as a mausoleum or temple around the 1st century CE. This iconic structure is renowned for its stunning facade, decorated with a blend of Hellenistic architectural elements and native Nabatean motifs. It features a grand portico supported by 6 Corinthian columns and is adorned with intricate bas-reliefs, including depictions of Castor and Pollux, twin brothers who were revered in mythology for their role in protection and safety. The urn perched atop the facade fueled local legends, with Bedouins believing it concealed ancient treasures, hence the name the Treasury. This blend of myth and architecture draws parallels to the ornately decorated temples of the Egyptian pharaohs, which were also rich in cultural and mythological significance. Petra's architectural landscape is a rich mosaic of influences, reflecting its historical significance as a cultural and trading hub. The city's structures blend Nabatean rock-cut artistry with classical Greek, Roman, and later Byzantine styles. This fusion is visible not just on the facades but throughout the city's layout, which includes a Roman-style colonnaded street and a theatre capable of holding over 3,000 spectators. Carved directly from the rock, Petra's theatre echoes the design of ancient Greek theatres such as Epidaurus, yet it is uniquely Nabatean in its execution, showcasing their extraordinary skill in stone carving. This architectural diversity highlights the city's role as a melting pot of various civilizations throughout history, each leaving their mark on its stones and streets. Among the monumental structures in Petra, the monastery known as Ad-Dair stands out for its architectural splendor akin to that of the Treasury, yet it occupies a more secluded and solemn location. The journey to reach the monastery is an adventure in itself. involving a challenging climb of over 800 steps carved directly into the rock, which naturally limits the number of casual tourists who visit. Originally constructed as a Nabatean temple in the 3rd century BCE, the structure was later repurposed as a Christian chapel during the Byzantine period. Its facade, adorned with a massive urn and framed by towering columns, rivals the grandeur of the Parthenon in Athens. However, the isolation of the monastery adds a layer of spiritual retreat, contrasting with the civic pride of the Parthenon. Petra's allure as a mysterious and adventurous location was catapulted into popular culture by its appearance in the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The movie features Petra's treasury as the fictional entrance to the final resting place of the Holy Grail, which not only captured the imaginations of viewers worldwide, but also significantly boosted tourism to the site. This depiction in the film perfectly aligned with the themes of discovery and exploration, underscoring how media can dramatically shape the perception and economic realities of archaeological sites.
I mean, it's just crazy. We've talked about, alternative theories to how the pyramids were built.
Yeah. I'm willing to accept that the Great Pyramid was largely completed by the ancient Egyptians. But remember that the ancient Egyptians tell us in many of their texts that everything they knew was a legacy. It was all an inheritance of the gods, and I don't construe the gods as aliens.
When we think of pyramids, our minds immediately journey to Egypt. The towering Giza Plateau, with its majestic stone structures, has long captured the world's fascination. But what if we told you that Egypt didn't build the first pyramids? Long before the sands of the Sahara surrounded the grand monuments of the pharaohs, a lesser-known civilization to the south built pyramids that have stood for millennia. Today, these mysterious structures quietly guard their ancient secrets. This is the story of Meroe, an ancient city in the heart of modern-day Sudan, where the first man-made pyramids may have risen and where we begin to unravel a mystery that challenges everything we thought we knew about ancient history. Let us set the scene. We are not in Egypt, but in the vast expanse of the Sudanese desert. Here, nestled in a stark, arid landscape, lie over 200 pyramids, concentrated in a city that once rivaled the grandeur of any ancient Egyptian metropolis. This city is Meroe, the capital of the powerful kingdom of Kush, a civilization that flourished for nearly 1,000 years. But Meroe's legacy is far more than a simple footnote in Egyptian history. It's a place where the lines between myth, architecture, and human achievement blur into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of antiquity. Our modern awareness of Meroe began in the 19th century, when European explorers ventured into the Sudanese desert. In 1821, they uncovered these stunning pyramids, which had been hidden for centuries beneath the sands. The explorers found a cluster of pyramids, some grand and towering, others smaller and more modest, yet all steeply angled with narrow bases, distinctly different from the broad, sloping forms of Egyptian pyramids. And while Egypt's pyramids were grand tombs for pharaohs, Meroe's served a different purpose. They were built for nobles and royals alike. But when exactly were these pyramids built and why? Archaeologists determined that Meroe's pyramids were constructed between 300 BCE and 350 CE, during a time when the Kingdom of Kush was a powerful force in Africa. This makes Meroe's pyramids younger than Egypt's Old Kingdom pyramids, but their purpose and design remain equally as fascinating. Many scholars theorize that Meroe's architectural style was influenced by earlier structures from the region, potentially dating back even further. Transporting the massive stones used to build these pyramids was no small feat. Some of the stones were quarried from sites over 25 miles away and weighed several tons. How could an ancient civilization, lacking modern tools and technology, achieve such monumental tasks? The logistics of transporting and constructing these structures in an unforgiving desert environment continue to puzzle researchers. To put this in perspective, the Great Pyramid of Giza contains stones weighing up to 80 tons, whereas the largest pyramid at Meroe, the Pyramid of Amenishaketo, used stones weighing between 1 and 2 tons. While lighter, these stones were no less challenging to transport, raising questions about how these ancient builders accomplished such feats. What's more intriguing is that Meroe's pyramids were built in a different context than those of Egypt. While Egyptian pyramids served as grand burial tombs for kings and pharaohs, the pyramids at Meroe were constructed for a broader group of nobles, queens, and princes. But why did the people of Meroe embrace pyramid building at all? Inside the tombs of Meroe, archaeologists found a remarkable fusion of Egyptian and African symbolism. Hieroglyphics and carvings covered the walls, but the faces depicted were distinctly African, signifying a culture that blended Egyptian influences with its own deep-rooted identity. Meroe wasn't merely a reflection of Egypt, it was a civilization that commanded power and respect in its own right. Stretching over 600 miles along the Nile, the Kingdom of Kush became a dominant force in trade and culture across northeast Africa. Yet the pyramids of Meroe raise more questions than they answer. Why, after centuries of success, did the Kingdom of Kush turn to pyramid building? Some scholars believe these pyramids were intended to strengthen Meroe's political and spiritual power, symbolizing divine kingship and cementing the kingdom's claim to leadership in the region. Others argue that they served as a tribute to Egyptian influences, while the most radical theory suggests that Meroe may have been the true originator of pyramid building. Let's consider this possibility. Recent archaeological evidence has revealed older, smaller pyramid-like structures in Sudan, dating as far back as the 8th century BCE, long before the construction of Egypt's famous monuments. These burial mounds, known as tumuli, could have evolved into the grand pyramids we see at Meroe today. Could it be that Egypt's most iconic structures were influenced by the Kushites rather than the other way around? It's a theory that challenges the traditional narrative of history, suggesting that Meroe's civilization may have pioneered innovations long before their Egyptian neighbors. As we dig deeper into the sands of history, the mysteries surrounding Meroe's pyramids only grow. Could the origins of pyramid building lie not in Egypt, but in this forgotten kingdom to the south? Meroe was more than just a city of pyramids, it was a thriving center of industry and trade with remarkable advancements that rivaled many other ancient civilizations. One of Meroe's most significant achievements was its mastery of ironworking. Scattered across the landscape, archaeologists have uncovered iron furnaces, a testament to a sophisticated industry that flourished long before many other ancient civilizations had harnessed such technology. This begs the question, how did the Kingdom of Kush develop these advanced techniques? Some believe that the iron was used to forge weapons, providing the Kushite warriors with a formidable edge in battle. Others argue that Meroe's iron was used for agricultural tools, enabling the cultivation of vast swathes of fertile land along the Nile, and allowing the kingdom to sustain its growing population. But perhaps the most intriguing theory suggests that Meroe's iron products were traded far and wide, reaching the Mediterranean and perhaps even India, indicating that this kingdom played a central role in the ancient global economy. Equally fascinating is Meroe's sophisticated water management system. Archaeologists have discovered an elaborate network of reservoirs and dams that allowed the people of Meroe to control the seasonal floodwaters of the Nile, ensuring a stable supply of water for agriculture. This level of engineering sophistication was far ahead of its time, surpassing even some of the water management techniques used in Egypt. Could it be that Meroe, not Egypt, held the key to ancient water engineering? And how much of this knowledge was passed down, or lost, over the centuries? But not all of Meroe's mysteries come from clear evidence. Some of the most tantalizing questions remain shrouded in conspiracy and speculation. One popular theory suggests that Meroe's decline was not a result of natural collapse but of deliberate sabotage. After the Romans conquered Egypt, could they have seen Meroe as a threat? Did they systematically erase this powerful kingdom from history to secure their dominance over the Nile region? This theory becomes even more intriguing when we consider the state of the pyramids themselves. Unlike the carefully maintained pyramids of Egypt, the pyramids of Meroe were intentionally defaced. Their smooth limestone casing was stripped away, leaving them exposed to the harsh desert winds. But who did this, and why? Was it Roman forces seeking to obliterate Meroe's legacy, or was there an internal conflict that led to the destruction of these grand monuments? Then there are whispers of a lost treasure buried within the pyramids, a fortune that has yet to be discovered. But perhaps the most valuable treasure Meroe has to offer is not gold or jewels, but knowledge. The understanding of an ancient world that continues to challenge everything we thought we knew about history. The pyramids of Meroe may not be as famous as the pyramids of Giza, but they are more numerous and cover a broader landscape that once teemed with life and activity. The construction techniques, while different, display an ingenuity that rivals that of Egypt's builders. And while Egypt's pyramids were built for a select few god-kings, Meroe's were designed for a wider range of society, reflecting a more diverse and inclusive social structure. Mystery, intrigue, and a lost civilization waiting to be rediscovered. This is the true legacy of Meroe. As the sands continue to shift over the ancient city, they may one day reveal even more secrets about this extraordinary civilization. Could it be that Meroe, not Egypt, is where the story of pyramids and so much more truly began?
Like many travelers before me, I too have reached the gates of Timbuktu. Timbuktu the mysterious, Timbuktu the holder of secrets, Timbuktu the center of knowledge. Timbuktu was one of the wonders of the ancient world. It was a type of Shangri-La or Atlantis. People thought that there was a land beyond the deserts of the Sahara where gold lined the streets, and it was a type of sumptuous kingdom.
Beneath the scorching sun and swirling sands of the Sahara Desert lies a city whose very name invokes mystery and wonder, Timbuktu. Once a beacon of trade, knowledge, and wealth, today it is known by few, understood by even fewer. Yet, Timbuktu is not just a relic of the past. It is a testament to human ambition, ingenuity, and survival in one of the harshest environments on Earth. But how did this fabled city come to be? How could a thriving center of wealth and knowledge emerge in the heart of a seemingly inhospitable desert?
Timbuktu has different phases within its existence, and all of the groups participated in the different phases of development.
Our journey begins in the early 14th century, during the reign of the Malian emperor Mansa Musa. His wealth was so immense that his pilgrimage to Mecca reportedly devalued gold in regions he passed through. Yet Musa's most enduring legacy was not his riches, it was the flourishing of Timbuktu, a city destined to become a hub for commerce and scholarship. The first mystery of Timbuktu, however, lies not in its origin, but in what was discovered centuries later. In the early 19th century, European explorers, lured by tales of an elusive golden city, crossed the Sahara in search of wealth. What they found, instead, was an ancient city built from colossal blocks of stone and mud brick. Structures like the Jingwereber Mosque and Sankore University stood as monumental testaments to human craftsmanship, their towers defying the desert's harsh elements for centuries. The first question emerges here: how were these structures built? Some of the stones used in Timbuktu's buildings weighed up to 2 tons and were transported from quarries more than 30 miles away. Modern engineers remain puzzled by how this was achieved without advanced machinery. How could ancient builders move such massive stones across the unforgiving landscape of the Sahara? Did they possess knowledge that modern civilization has lost? This mystery is the first clue to Timbuktu's mysterious past. An engineering prowess seemingly out of place in a desert that by all accounts should have made such construction impossible.
They found that there were these actually very, very sophisticated, very complex mud brick structures on a very large scale.
But as we look deeper into Timbuktu's history, we discover something even more astonishing. By the 15th century, Timbuktu had become a thriving intellectual hub, housing some of the greatest libraries in the world. Manuscripts covering subjects such as astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and law were studied and preserved here. Scholars from across the Islamic world traveled to this remote city, transforming it into a center of learning that rivaled some of the greatest educational institutions of the time. And yet, one question lingers. How did such an intellectual center thrive in a place so isolated?
It became an intellectual center because the scholars generally were traveling with the caravans.
Was it simply Timbuktu's strategic location along trade routes, or could there be something more? Some researchers believe that Timbuktu's placement precisely at the edge of the Sahara and along the Niger River may have held deeper significance. Could ancient civilizations have chosen this location based on an advanced understanding of geography or even astronomy? A provocative theory suggests that Timbuktu might lie on one of the Earth's natural energy pathways, ley lines, that have been revered by ancient cultures across the world. Could its success as a city of knowledge and wealth have been linked to its placement on one of these energy nodes? As we ponder these questions, another mystery unfolds. Recent discoveries have revealed that many of the original manuscripts from Timbuktu's libraries, some dating back over 700 years, are missing. Where did they go? Were they destroyed or were they stolen? Whispers of a conspiracy emerge here, an organized effort perhaps by European colonial powers to seize and suppress Timbuktu's ancient knowledge. Some believe the manuscripts were hidden by local scholars to protect them from invaders, and that their secrets remain buried, known only to a select few. Today, historians and treasure hunters alike search for these lost manuscripts, hoping to unlock the wisdom they contain. But this brings us to an even greater mystery. What exactly was in these manuscripts? Could they have contained knowledge that the world wasn't ready for? Advanced technologies or philosophies that challenged the dominant worldviews of their time?
I want to know what else is going to be found that hasn't been investigated yet at all. We're just touching the edge of a huge mystery.
Were these manuscripts lost to history or intentionally kept from the world? As we explore these questions, we are reminded that Timbuktu's story is not just about the past. It is a cautionary tale about the fragility of human progress. What knowledge have we, as a civilization, lost over the millennia? Could the lost wisdom of Timbuktu have changed the course of human history? As we dive deeper into the story of Timbuktu, an unsettling thought begins to emerge. What if the true wealth of this city was not in gold, but in knowledge? And what if that knowledge was too dangerous for the world to possess? Timbuktu's scholars compiled manuscripts on topics ranging from astronomy to medicine, from theology to mathematics. By the 15th century, Timbuktu housed an estimated 700,000 manuscripts, forming one of the largest intellectual archives of the time. But here's where the mystery deepens. Much of this vast collection has vanished. Entire libraries were raided, collections disappeared, and even today, many manuscripts remain unaccounted for. Some of the surviving texts mention ideas that seem far ahead of their time, such as advanced mathematical concepts and detailed astronomical observations. There are even cryptic references to knowledge of the cosmos that surpasses what we believed was understood in the 14th and 15th centuries. Could it be that Timbuktu's scholars possessed knowledge far beyond what we know today? And if so, who or what was responsible for the suppression of this information? Some researchers point to the colonial history of Africa. As European powers began their conquest of the continent in the 19th century, they systematically dismantled much of the region's cultural heritage. And there are rumors that the French in particular seized many manuscripts from Timbuktu and shipped them back to Europe. Others suggest that these texts were deliberately hidden or destroyed because they contained information that could challenge the scientific revolution taking place in Europe. The truth remains elusive, but what we do know is that Timbuktu's intellectual legacy has only been partially uncovered. Many of the remaining manuscripts are locked away in private collections, deteriorating from neglect. Could these hidden texts hold the answers to the mysteries that still surround Timbuktu? But the intrigue does not end with the manuscripts. Archaeologists working in the region have uncovered ruins of other ancient cities near Timbuktu, suggesting the area was part of a larger, interconnected civilization. Some of the stones used in Timbuktu's structures weigh several tons and were transported from quarries miles away. How could these feats of engineering have been accomplished without modern machinery? And could there be a connection between the builders of Timbuktu and the ancient Egyptians? Adding to the mystery, some of these structures remain unfinished, as though the builders abruptly stopped their work. Why would a city so rich in knowledge and wealth suddenly fall into decline? Environmental changes may provide part of the answer. As the Sahara continued to expand, trade routes shifted, and the resources that once sustained Timbuktu dwindled. But others suggest that external forces may have played a role. Some theorists argue that jealous foreign powers or even secret societies conspired to bring about the city's downfall. One of the most persistent theories involves the lost riches of Timbuktu. According to legend, Mansa Musa's wealth wasn't only in gold. He may have possessed ancient artifacts and manuscripts from a forgotten civilization. Some believe that these treasures remain hidden beneath the city, waiting to be discovered. Could Timbuktu's greatest secret be something far more valuable than gold? As we conclude our journey, one thing is clear: Timbuktu's mysteries are far from solved. What knowledge was lost, and why? What still lies hidden beneath centuries of sand and secrecy? Recent efforts to preserve Timbuktu's heritage have been met with both success and challenge. Instability in the region and the harsh desert climate threaten the remnants of the city's once great libraries. Yet, new archaeological techniques such as ground-penetrating radar have revealed that entire sections of the city may still be buried. Could these hidden chambers hold the answers to the questions we've been seeking? Or could they contain even greater secrets? Secrets that could reshape our understanding of history, civilization, and the very nature of knowledge.
Are we secure on the dating of all the structures above water on Malta? And I suggest strongly that we're not.
Yeah.
There are very few carbon dates from Malta, and the new dating work that's been done there hasn't added usefully to that database. Been very little carbon dating done on the Maltese temples. And that carbon dating is itself insecure. Malta used to be joined to Sicily during the Ice Age. Malta wasn't an island, it was part of the mainland.
Yeah.
Imagine standing before structures that predate the Great Pyramids and Stonehenge, shrouded in mystery and built by a civilization lost to time.
I believe that's the time where we lost track of an episode in our story, where we lost track of an earlier civilization.
Welcome to the megalithic temples of Malta, some of the oldest freestanding structures on Earth. These architectural marvels are not only masterpieces of ancient engineering, but also portals into the past of a sophisticated society whose understanding of astronomy continues to intrigue scholars and scientists.
A deep understanding of astronomy that could only be gained through hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years of very careful observation.
Join us as we explore the secrets these stone giants hold, revealing insights into a world both ancient and astonishingly advanced. Despite their historical and architectural significance, these ancient temples were not recognized for their true value until the late 19th century. Before this period, local awareness of their antiquity was minimal, and preservation was not considered a priority. Throughout earlier centuries, the temples suffered from local farming and building practices that led to significant deterioration. Stones from these structures were frequently removed and repurposed for new construction projects.
A lot of archaeology that gets done doesn't get done because of a targeted search. It may be because a dam is being built or a new highway is being built.
The first documented mention of the temples appeared in Jean-Quentin d'Autun's 1536 publication Insulae Militae Descriptio, which noted the existence of ancient ruins on Malta, though detailed archaeological interest would only take shape much later. Dating from 3600 BC to 2500 BC, these temples are older than both Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids. Recognizing their profound historical and cultural significance, several of the temples were designated as UNESCO World Heritage Sites in 1980. This recognition was a crucial step in ensuring their preservation and promoting further scholarly research and public awareness. Systematic studies and excavations of these sites began in earnest in the early 20th century with Sir Themistocles Zammit, a man of many talents including archaeology, medicine, history, and curation. Starting around 1905, Zammit's extensive archaeological work marked a significant pivot towards the scientific exploration of these structures. His efforts established a chronological framework for the construction and usage of the temples, greatly enhancing our understanding of prehistoric Maltese culture.
A lost civilization of prehistoric antiquity.
Zammit's findings not only attracted international scholarly interest, but also helped increase tourism, bringing additional funding and support for further studies. Among his discoveries were numerous artifacts, including pottery, tools, and the iconic Fat Lady figurines, thought to represent a fertility goddess or a maternal figure. Continuing from the fascinating historical backdrop and archaeological discoveries, the megalithic temples of Malta are not just ancient architectural marvels. They are sophisticated structures that intricately reflect the socio-religious fabric of the society that constructed them. Their design demonstrates an advanced knowledge of stonework and astronomy. The temples are renowned for their unique trefoil layout, which consists of 3 semicircular chambers connected by a central corridor. This design is not only unique to Maltese temple architecture, but is also laden with symbolic meanings. It could represent various stages of life, celestial bodies, or deities from local mythology, with the repetition of the number 3 perhaps signifying a sacred or divine principle in their cosmology. Functionally, these chambers likely serve diverse ritualistic or communal purposes, each possibly dedicated to different aspects of life or deities. The layout itself facilitates processional movements, which are believed to have been part of the ritual activities conducted within these sacred spaces. Moreover, the orientation and layout of the temples are marked by astronomical precision. For instance, the Manadra South Temple aligns with the equinox sunrise, allowing light to flood the main corridor and central chambers at specific times of the year. This dramatic interplay of light and shadows could have been crucial for marking seasonal changes and regulating ceremonial calendars.
There was a highly sophisticated knowledge of the precession of the equinoxes, that it's impossible to trace how far back it goes.
The choice of temple locations also takes into account visual and environmental factors, such as line of sight to important landscape features, horizon visibility for astronomical observations, and protection from prevailing winds, showing a sophisticated integration of architecture with the natural landscape. The structural engineering techniques used in the temples also reveal the builders' innovative approaches. The use of corbelling, where stones are laid horizontally and each successive layer extends slightly beyond the one below, allowed the creation of self-supporting domed or vaulted structures. This early form of arch construction, predating Roman arches, illustrates their advanced engineering capabilities. Additionally, the flexibility inherent in the corbelling and the interlocking of megaliths without mortar could have provided some resistance to seismic activity, an important consideration given Malta's location within the Mediterranean seismic belt. The decorative elements of the temples further enrich their architectural sophistication. Elaborate carvings and reliefs, including spirals, animal figures, and plant motifs, are deeply engraved into the limestone. These decorations are not merely ornamental, they are imbued with symbolic meanings, possibly representing fertility, the cycle of life, or a connection to nature. Artifacts such as the famous Fat Lady sculptures and other statuettes found in and around the temples suggest that these sites also served as focal points for art and culture. Additionally, traces of red ochre found on some temple walls indicate that color was used either to enhance certain carvings or to demarcate special areas within the temples, adding another layer to the sophisticated aesthetic and ceremonial aspects of the temple architecture. The construction techniques used in the megalithic temples of Malta further highlight the advanced engineering of their creators. The construction of these ancient temples showcases an exceptional mastery of various techniques that have contributed to their preservation through millennia.
I can't help thinking time capsule, that there was an intention to preserve this.
One of the most critical materials in the construction of these temples is Globigerina limestone, a sedimentary rock predominant in the Maltese archipelago. Notably soft when freshly quarried, this limestone allowed artisans to carve intricate details and shape the stones with relative ease. As the limestone is exposed to air, it undergoes a hardening process due to the gradual evaporation of inherent moisture and crystallization of minerals. This transformation significantly enhances the resilience and longevity of the structures. The intricate carvings on the temple walls, including spiral designs and animal figures, attest to the high level of craftsmanship and the advanced tools and techniques employed during their creation. The logistics involved in moving and assembling massive limestone blocks, some weighing several tons, were formidable. Theories suggest that the builders might have used log rollers, stone balls, or sledges made from tree trunks, often lubricated with plant oils or animal fats to reduce friction. This suggests a highly organized society with clear hierarchies and labor specialization, capable of coordinating large-scale construction efforts. There is also evidence to suggest that ramps made from earth or smaller stones were used to position these large blocks, similar to techniques used in other ancient civilizations. Moreover, the temples exemplify an advanced use of mortarless construction. Builders employed a technique of cutting and fitting stones so precisely that no mortar was needed to hold them together. This dry stone technique, known for its durability and flexibility in seismic activity, involves crafting joints that interlock without gaps. The lack of mortar not only prevents erosion, but also allows the structures to breathe during earthquakes, enabling the stones to shift slightly and settle back without causing structural damage, a technique that has proven effective in other earthquake-prone regions like those encountered by Inca architects. It's fascinating to draw parallels and contrast these ancient marvels with other legendary structures like Machu Picchu. Both sites utilize mortarless construction techniques, which not only exemplifies the precision of stone cutting in ancient times, but also ensures the stability and longevity of these structures. This shared approach underlines a profound understanding of stone properties and structural engineering across two very different cultures. However, the cultural contexts and geographical settings of the megalithic temples and Machu Picchu are distinctly different. The temples in Malta were primarily religious structures. In contrast, Machu Picchu likely served a dual purpose as both a royal estate and a religious retreat, possibly. Geographically, the Maltese temples are nestled on a small island terrain, whereas Machu Picchu sits high in the Andes Mountains. These differences reflect how each culture adapted its architectural styles and techniques to fit its environment and societal needs. During World War II, Malta's strategic position in the Mediterranean made it a prime target, leading to heavy bombings. The value of the megalithic temples was recognized during these turbulent times, prompting significant protective measures. One notable method was the sand covering technique used at sites like Hagar Kim, where heaps of earth and sand were piled over the temples to cushion the impact of bomb blasts and prevent damage from flying debris. While this method helped prevent direct damage during air raids, it also introduced challenges like moisture retention, which could accelerate erosion of the stonework. After the war, extensive surveys and careful removal of sand were necessary to assess any damage and prevent further stress on the ancient stones. These ongoing research and conservation efforts are vital for sustaining the legacy of the megalithic temples of Malta, allowing future generations to marvel at these testaments to human ingenuity and resilience.
I mean, it's just crazy. We've talked about, alternative theories to how the pyramids were built.
Yeah. I'm willing to accept that the Great Pyramid was largely completed by the ancient Egyptians. But remember that the ancient Egyptians tell us in many of their texts that everything they knew was a legacy. It was all an inheritance of the gods, and I don't construe the gods as aliens.
Beneath the sands of modern-day Sudan and southern Egypt lies the story of a civilization whose architectural prowess rivaled that of the ancient Egyptians, the Nubians.
I think we're looking at hints and clues that something is missing in our story.
Known for constructing more pyramids than their northern neighbors, the Nubians created a kingdom of extraordinary wealth, culture, and power. But as the tides of history shifted, their grand structures were gradually reclaimed by the desert, and their story obscured by the sands of time.
I want to know what else is going to be found that hasn't been investigated yet at all. We're just touching the edge of a huge mystery.
Where did this great civilization go? And what secrets do their ancient cities and towering pyramids still hold? The Nubian civilization, nestled along the Nile River in what is now Sudan and southern Egypt, stands as one of Africa's oldest and most fascinating civilizations.
A great civilization that had been destroyed and that had left some survivors who had come to Egypt.
With a history that stretches back to the Neolithic period, Nubia is celebrated for its complex social structure, advanced architectural prowess, and dynamic interactions with ancient Egypt. The story of Nubia's exploration and its archaeological significance unfolds with intriguing depth, particularly when considering its ties to Egypt. During the 19th century, as European powers expanded their reach across Africa, scholars and archaeologists often accompanied colonial expeditions, initially focusing on the pharaonic marvels of Egypt due to their spectacular allure and global fascination. However, these explorers soon ventured into modern-day Sudan, where they uncovered the rich heritage of Nubia.
Yes, there's been some archaeology in the Sahara Desert, but not very much.
Richard Lepsius, a pioneering German Egyptologist, was one of the first to document Nubian antiquities extensively during his Prussian expedition from 1842 to 1845. His meticulous records and sketches provided a detailed overview of Nubian archaeological wealth, charting numerous sites including temples, tombs, and entire settlements previously unknown to the broader scholarly community. Yet these early explorations were not without their challenges. Adventurers faced harsh climates and political instability, and their initial perceptions of Nubia were often clouded by colonial biases, frequently underestimating the sophistication of the Nubian civilization in comparison to their northern neighbors, the Egyptians. Nubia's relationship with Egypt was marked by periods of both conflict and cooperation, with Nubian kings at times dominating Egypt, especially during the 25th dynasty, also known as the Nubian dynasty. This era is crucial for understanding the significant influence Nubians had on Egyptian politics, culture, and religion. Pharaoh Taharqa, a notable ruler of this dynasty, oversaw an era of considerable architectural and cultural achievements, with extensive building projects in both Egypt and Nubia. His contributions in Thebes and Karnak, showcasing a blend of Egyptian and Nubian artistic styles, are particularly well documented. The rediscovery of the Nubian dynasty has been pivotal, highlighting the Nubians not just as conquerors but as integrators who significantly enhanced the Egyptian state's infrastructure and cultural life. Turning our gaze to a broader horizon, comparing Nubia and Mesopotamia offers fascinating parallels. Both civilizations flourished around mighty rivers, the Nile for Nubia and the Tigris-Euphrates for Mesopotamia, providing the fertile ground that supported dense populations and the development of complex societies. Just as Nubia interacted with Egypt, Mesopotamia had dynamic relationships with its neighbors, engaging in both cultural exchanges and military conflicts. Architecturally, while Nubia is renowned for its pyramids and monumental temples, Mesopotamia is credited with the development of ziggurats and the pioneering use of brick as a primary building material. Both regions also developed their writing systems, with cuneiform in Mesopotamia and Meroitic scripts in Nubia, which were vital for administrative, religious, and cultural expressions, remaining crucial for archaeologists and historians in understanding these ancient societies.
If you wish to pass information to a distant future, you wouldn't be smart to just write it down. How can we know that our script is going to be readable by any other culture, let's say 10,000 years in the future?
George Reisner's pioneering archaeological work in Nubia at the beginning of the 20th century has dramatically enhanced our understanding of the ancient kingdom of Kush, shedding light on a civilization that was at various times a rival and a partner to ancient Egypt. As a professor at Harvard University, Reisner was dispatched by the Harvard University Museum of Fine Arts Boston expedition to delve into the historical mysteries of Egypt and Nubia. His investigations in Nubia were among the first to apply scientific archaeological methods in the region, establishing new standards for documenting the excavation process that would influence future archaeological endeavors. One of Reisner's most groundbreaking efforts was his excavation of Kerma, which he identified as a key cultural and political hub of the Kingdom of Kush. This discovery was particularly significant as Kerma's importance had previously been overshadowed by more well-known Egyptian sites. At Kerma, the most striking find was the Defufa, a towering mud brick structure that remains one of the largest and oldest of its kind in the world. Reisner suggested that the Defufa served a religious and possibly administrative function, a topic that continues to spark debate among scholars regarding its specific role. Further excavations at the royal cemeteries in Kerma unearthed a wealth of information about the burial customs of the Kushite elite. The tombs revealed a rich array of grave goods, including pottery, gold, and bronze artifacts, which spoke of a highly sophisticated culture with expansive trade networks. Additionally, evidence of human sacrifices at these sites suggested that the Kushites engaged in complex funerary rituals, underscoring the depth of their religious beliefs. The layout of Kerma, as uncovered by Reisner, indicated a highly organized urban center, complete with residential areas, production centers, and extensive fortifications. This insight provided a new perspective on the urban planning and architectural sophistication of the Kushite civilization, challenging the then prevailing notion that Nubian culture was perpetually subordinate to that of ancient Egypt. Instead, Reisner's findings highlighted the distinctiveness of the Nubian civilization and its ability to influence and control vast territories. including parts of Egypt at various times. Reisner's systematic approach to excavation and his rigorous documentation practices set new benchmarks in the field of archaeology. He was a pioneer in using stratigraphy for dating purposes, which allowed for a more accurate understanding of the chronological sequence of the sites he excavated. The legacy of his work continues to serve as a foundational resource for subsequent research on Nubia, inspiring generations of archaeologists to further explore the complexities of Nubian history and its interconnections with other ancient civilizations. As we continue to unravel the intricacies of this ancient society, Reisner's contributions remain invaluable, providing a robust framework for understanding not only Nubia's past, but also the broader narratives of ancient world histories. The rediscovery of Nubian pyramids and the archaeological efforts to save Nubian heritage in the wake of the Aswan High Dam's construction have provided profound insights into this ancient civilization.
Archaeology is often driven by accidental finds.
Yeah.
Maybe a road is going to be built, maybe a railway is going to be built. A lot of archaeological discoveries are made as a result of that.
Nubian pyramids offer a stark contrast to their Egyptian counterparts. These structures are characterized by their steep and narrow sides and much smaller bases, ranging from approximately 6 to 30 meters across, unlike Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza, which spans over 230 meters at its base. Constructed with stepped courses of horizontally laid stone blocks, Nubian pyramids typically feature a small chapel at the base facing east, housing offerings and a stele with inscriptions about the deceased. The burial practices within these pyramids reveal a lot about the Nubians. These pyramids were not just final resting places, but also a testament to the wealth and power of the Kushite royalty and elites, reflecting a hierarchy and religious practices influenced by, yet distinct from, Egyptian traditions. Moreover, the art and hieroglyphic inscriptions on the walls of these pyramids offer critical insights into the religious beliefs and daily life of the Kushites, often including prayers and spells similar to those found in Egyptian texts, but adapted to local contexts and deities, highlighting the syncretic nature of Nubian religion. Continuing on the theme of comparisons, looking at Nubian and Mayan pyramids side by side offers fascinating insights. Both civilizations built pyramids, yet their purposes and designs reflect different cultural priorities and environmental conditions. Nubian pyramids, primarily serving as tombs for royalty, featured steep sides and narrow bases and were constructed of stone. In contrast, Mayan pyramids, often broader and less steep, served primarily religious purposes, hosting rituals and sacrifices at their summits, often accessible via a series of steps.